Yo, Kyle, what up, man? What's up, my boy? What you doing? Yeah. So, G, how you doing? How we doing? Good.
KB, what up?
What's up, B? Everybody on top.
What's up, fellas? Hey! What's up, boys? Can you hear us talking around?
IG, you good?
Yeah.
Good.
Johnny, straps in. How we doing, Jonathan?
Good over here. How's business?
Booming. That's all
Booming?
we got. Booming.
Not surprised.
On the ups. Come on.
Not surprised.
Gooey cuts. Gooey cuts, actually.
How you spell that?
Gooeycutz. Come on.
That's the game. That's the game.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I appreciate everybody coming through, to the first episode of Barbershop Talks, where I feel like we have a platform to discuss issues that we're affected by that we don't always get to hear their sides of, and how we can push to better the university's resources for us athletes and for everybody in general. That everyone's being heard for their issues on mental health and ways in which we can get resources to help us perform at our highest level and be the best player we want to be on the court and on the baseball field. So obviously, I got some questions I just wanted to lay out, and if anybody has answers or responses, obviously, don't be shy. Just let it out. So, how has fan interaction changed with you guys over time? Because I know for myself, being kind of like a high school phenom, I've had an attention on me since I was in high school, and I've always been people have always been Tyler's bad, or in high school or stuff like that. And I used to let that get to me, so I can only imagine how. I want to hear your guys' experiences and see if that's ever been an issue for anybody, or anybody's experienced something to the extent of how fan interaction has changed, from you going from high school to college.
Sure. Well, coming from an international perspective, you kind of realize how polarizing American culture is. I've never had a student section packed, yelling some of the wild and crazy things they have. I grew up playing for a small high school. I never really had a massive student section or fan base, and maybe the biggest we got was on a national stage, and there it's just all love, it's all support. You don't really get that.
No, yeah. Going off of KB, I've actually played in the biggest school in New Zealand and also one of the most prideful schools in Hawaii, part of America. So I've got the best of both worlds, And especially coming from New Zealand, there wasn't much hate at all. But when I went to Kahuku, which is the school I went to in Hawaii, they were comparing me to my brother, like you were saying. They were saying, is he going to be as good as this guy? And that's probably why the reason I came to St. Mary's and not Hawaii, because I don't want to be, playing for behind my brother's shadow and all that.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a name. They're not gonna say, "Oh, you're Isaac's brother." They're gonna say, "You're Dan Fox, man.
Yeah.
You go to St. Mary's."
Yeah.
So it's definitely different from where we come from to America.
And as what it would be like playing in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you probably would never see hate to a college team in New Zealand.
Yeah, the fans at our games are 50 people, and it's most of them you know. So it's a bit different here.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in my hometown, it's pretty small, so I kind of knew everyone that were at the game. So you're not going to say anything to you that's too meaningful because you're going to see them outside of the court. So it's all pretty much love where we came from back home. But like KB touched on, I can definitely see how you can get that attention in America. Because things are more hype around here, and there's more eyes watching it, so people get more involved in it.
Mm-hmm. And you've experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, freshman year, I got a bit of playing time, so I heard a lot of it from the crowd, and I feel we didn't, KB touched on, we didn't have any student section in my games. Just never got that close interaction with people playing games, but yeah, I faced it a lot, especially freshman year.
It's kind of brought up some great points about, you know, I know you guys are foreign, so, you know, having that experience, I'm sure is a lot different than it would be in America. Because I feel like in high school, you know, everything is built off of that. Like a fan trying to get into your head is always on the other opposing team's mind, fan base around here, at least. I know, like baseball, I wonder too, because I feel like dugouts are kind of like fans in an instance because of how they'll try to heckle a pitcher or a batter up to bat. I know that's how it was for me when I played Little League. I don't know if it's a lot different playing in high school.
No, yeah, kind of going off that, I actually have an experience with that in high school. The other team, I was dating this girl and the other team like looked on her whole Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Knew like everything about her, like everything, and then sure enough, I'm like, I was like one of like the better kids like in my conference, so obviously they're gonna try to make like affect my game, and obviously it did a little bit in high school, and like they would just like say random, they would just say her name or something like that, and like in that like moment, I'm supposed to be doing my job, and then like now I'm thinking about my girlfriend, you know, and it kind of gets me off of like what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to like perfect, you know, and then but like as I kind of got older, like in college, I kind of got like more mature and whatnot. And none of that stuff really bothers me anymore. Yeah, I hear it, y'all think about it, but then like I can easily flip the switch and get back to like what I'm trying to do in that certain moment, you know?
Because you've been there and you.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Where
I've heard
it could be probably way different for an international kid.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of experienced the same thing at Gonzaga when we played there. I think it was my freshman year. We were warming up like before the game, and there was these people over my shoulder, and they said my sister's name, and I was kind of like, I doubled back, so I was like, I'm sure they're just like talking to someone else, and he's like standing over the railing like, hey 44, like how's Annie doing? I'm like what?
Yeah.
But like it didn't really derail me too much. It kind of just like made me laugh a bit, but like I can see how that would like derail someone for sure.
For sure. So then, just going off of that, so you know we talked about how that experience can be positive and negative. So do you feel mentally prepared for the criticism that you would receive in college, coming from where you come from? So we kind of touched on that too, like how it could be different for you guys and fans trying to heckle you and people on Twitter and social media. Like has anybody ever received like tweets that have like maybe impacted the way they've performed, or has there been like things said to you that, you know, in baseball when maybe they're talking about your stats, maybe you haven't had a good month of hitting or a week of hitting, and you know, somebody's letting you hear about it, like does that affect like your next at bat? Does that affect like the way you approach your next free throw shot? I've always kind of wondered that, because I know for myself, I've had moments where yes, you know, but kind of like with what KB's saying, you kind of learn to mature over time. But there's definitely ways in which, you know, somebody can be affected by it. So,
I mean, it's crazy how how deep they go down the rabbit hole way. Like I've received emails, like it's like who emails someone like put on Twitter or Instagram, you know, like. But I mean, it's crazy how personal they get. But because at Utah State, remember when we were warming up and they were like screaming my TikTok account, like.
It was funny. There was like 5 grown dudes.
Yeah, no, but we were locked in, ready to go, like KB was saying. But and then you just hear that, and it's just like, whoa, what? Like,
Yeah, it kind of takes you off the game a little bit.
takes you off your game.
throws you back, and it's kind of like you have to find a way to get back into a mindset. It's so easy to be affected by it as well, and trapped by it. You know?
I got another story. There was one time, this was in high school though, but this one time was a windy day. I was playing second base my freshman year of high school. Some dude hit a fly ball in the air, and I go to get it, and I ended up like dropping it, hit my face.
and the cameraman got a picture of it and he put it in the newspaper. He put it in the newspaper, so the newspaper comes up on my driveway. I look at it, it's me there missing a fly ball like this. And then the team down the road ended up taking a picture of it and like someone had like a burner account or something. And like posted it and was like, oh, at Ayala Baseball, like this is your guy, question mark, or something like that. I don't remember. It was just like, bro, what? Like, come on, like, you don't even live here, you don't even get them these newspapers.
Wow. I love how KV keeps talking about his high school experiences, because it's such a thing with age and maturity that you have to deal with. I mean, where my mental resilience and where my confidence level's at compared to my freshman year to now, ridiculous. Black and white, completely different. I mean, even as a freshman coming as an 18-year-old kid, you've got guys like your seniors telling you, yeah, expect this, but like, you don't really know until some dude in the student section telling me to have a shower. Like, I don't know, like, what do I tell you that? And, I mean, I think that just speaks volume to what a monster college basketball and that fan love and support, hate, whatever you want to call it, is. I mean, there's obviously student sections and guys our age getting blacked out drunk before the games and coming in and not caring what they say about your sister, not caring what they say about your TikTok account. So it's just, I mean, it's bittersweet, you know, you get that fan love, but then you also get those comments that kind of cross the line, and you don't really know how to deal with it. But I mean, that's what like team's about. That's why you got your brothers, you know, stay focused. And I mean, just from my personal experiences, what you guys have done for me and help my confidence, it's all love, and I think that's like the most important thing. That's how you kind of get through it all.
Yeah, and you know, touching upon that, I like how you brought up like the team aspect, because do you think like there's things that we can do at St. Mary's to help have people have a platform to be like, make sure their mental health is in order? Because, you know, like you say, there's a team, you know, but a lot of there's still a lot of sports that it's not really team based. You know, we have tennis, we have golf, and track and swimming and those like sports like that. Like when you're out there by yourself, like, are you okay? You know what I mean? Like, is everybody? Because think about it, this is such a small population of athletes at St. Mary's. We haven't touched on soccer, rugby, like all the other things that go on. So you know, with that, I feel like that's why, you know, I like how you brought up the team aspect of it, because kind of when you have a group that supports you and helps you, is it like, it makes it obviously easier to go about your day. But there's still stuff that may stick with you when you get on that bus, you know what I mean, or the next time you see that fly ball, which is pretty interesting to me.
It's kind of different with baseball, like as a freshman, because in the fall here at St. Mary's, they usually get a lot of guys, so they have to make cuts, so it's like almost like everyone on their own. But I mean, at the same time, it's a family aspect, because there's like 50 of us out there that are competing. Yeah. So like, kind of have to respect everyone's grind out there, and you know, there are older guys that want to help you like perfect your craft and, you know, help you get through college, let alone play the sport. But yeah, it's kind of a lot freshman year in the fall, because a lot of guys, like even on scholarship, can get cut. Like my freshman year, we had 2 juniors that they're on full ride, and after the fall, they got cut. So
maybe making a thing where incoming freshmen kind of learn a way to deal with and approach situations with mental health and what comes with that, and what comes with social media, and how pros and cons of social medias and how they can affect you. I think that could maybe help you know, athletes going forward at St. Mary's and even around the country. Just having that because, you know, we go to a small school in the spectrum of things. Like there's schools with 15,000. You know, like when I was at the University of Cincinnati, like we were playing in front of 14,000 people every night, and like, you know, we've experienced that at Utah State, and you know, like, and the crazy thing about it all is that we're in the public eye, but we can't respond to things maybe how we want to respond to things, you know, because like we're looked at as, okay, well, we go to St. Mary's, one, right? You have your mom and your dad or whoever looks after you, that you kind of like you always want to have that respect factor of like where I come from, right? You have the country where you're from, and we're not always able to be like, we're not always able to say what we want to say to a fan that says something to us on social media or in person. How do you prepare for a big time game mentally? Do you have is there certain rituals you do? Is there?
I mean, something that we adopted this season was kind of this meditation, breathing, Wim Hof style, and I wish we kind of did that more. Even myself as a person, even people didn't want to do it as much, but like I wish I kind of did that every game because that was really useful, and I feel like that helps in like the times in games where it's just you in the room, which it's your time to make a play, whether that be a free throw. I'm sure. And that's what I respect about baseball. It's you on the pitch, It's you following the ball, hitting in the chair. I'm funny, but it really helps in those moments where it's just you and it's your time to perform. So I think just that meditation, getting in touch with your mental conscious is really helpful in those moments, in those big games.
I was gonna go right off that thing. I was gonna say the same thing. Like the fact that like actually for me this area was a breathing technique. It's 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out. And it's supposed to trigger like parasympathetic or whatever that means. I mean, you guys can look it up. Yeah. So like, basically, it's just like it's so funny. I think we always talk about like mental health and like get help and like seek help, and that's awesome. But at the same time, it's just like something so simple that you can control. Like you can control your breathing, and then I've always been like the one like, oh dude, like my freshman year, oh dude, breathing, like come on, dude, just come on, like, toughen up. You know what I'm saying? But like. This year, I adopted this thing. 5th year, I was feeling a little anxious, like first game, and I knew about it, and I was like, I'm just gonna try it. I ended up doing it for the national anthem. I was sitting out there with the national anthem, and I get lost in my breath. Like I'm just like counting seconds and just like about to fall asleep. I'm like, I get up, I'm like, wow, I'm in, I'm good. It's just like takes you to that like present moment because all you're thinking about is your breath and the time you got, and that's it. And you're not thinking about no plays, no nothing, no physical stuff.
Because that took care of itself already.
Yeah.
I noticed the breathing helps too. I actually started doing yoga this year, and one of the videos I was watching, they emphasize the breath a lot with your stretching because it helps you get deeper in your stretch. And I noticed like the seconds you count in your breath is the more you get lost in it, and you don't even realize like what's going on, even like what you're doing. Like when I was stretching, I had no idea like the stretch I was even getting into. I just felt like after I just felt great, like locked in, and like use that for like on deck. Like when I'm on deck, like I use that breathing technique of like 4 seconds in, 8 out, and I kind of extend it to as long as I can, and then kind of like time up the pitcher or whatnot I need to do. I find myself like super confident and locked in when I focus on my breath for sure.
Yeah.
Big at-bats and whatnot.
You're not going off that. Like I used to think like getting my 300 shots in the mornings before the games was the thing to do, but I started it when I was before Gonzaga game. I put like headphones on and just lied down and thought about every play that might come my way. Like if I'm in the corner, catching the ball and shooting it, like envisioning the things. And it's crazy how mental the game is. And just going back to the point we were talking about with like heckling and stuff. Like if you're locked in for that 11 seconds that Guru was talking about, and then someone says your sister's name, like going back to that point, it's just so mental that you just got to be so mentally strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of experienced that at Utah State. We needed a free throw to win the game, and so I got fouled on the other end getting a rebound, and so I had kind of like, it would have been 30 seconds to a minute before I had to like get up, walk to, like I knew I was shooting free throws. I knew there was 1 second on the clock.
Tied game.
Yeah, tied game to win it, and the crowd's massive. Like that's just me in the hoop and these 10 to 14 whatever it was. And the whole time my mind was just like blank, and I was just like thinking about like funny moments. Like it wasn't even like about the game. And I like got to the free throw line, and like it was so piercingly loud I couldn't even like hear myself think. And then so I changed my like motive a bit. I was like, just imagine yourself like at St. Mary's, which is you in the hoop, no one else out there. So I, like the whole time, there's people behind the crowd waving signs and then silly pictures and stuff. But the whole time I just thought like I'm in St. Mary's. Like I literally was like kind of closing my eyes to a degree, like I pictured St. Mary's hoop.
And I'm thinking so much about your mental game in that game. What did I tell you when you got up? I was like,
Yeah, I found the wrong guy.
you got the wrong guy. And like, I wanted to say it loud enough so you could hear it to know that you're like,
Yeah.
our best free throw shooter, and like they should have found someone else.
Yeah, and even like the
It's
little
like all
comments-
that mental game, you know?
even like the little remarks like that in games, like even in different press situations, like when you hear your teammate
Yeah.
like gives a little like jokingly comment, like even if it is a joke or if it's like a kind of roast to you, like you know it's him like just like kind of picking your confidence up. Like he's got the best like in mind for you, and like they're just trying to help you out. So like even like when Voti kind of mentioned that when I'm walking to the free throw line. And I hear it in my shoulder, but I'm like laugh and like kind of mess myself up. I'm like, okay, he's got my back. Like he knows that we're gonna be good.
Yeah, and that's important because they're like we touched on earlier. There's sports that don't have that.
Exactly.
Like imagine how a golfer feels. You know,
Yeah, trying to make
he's on the
that
back
call.
nine,
Yeah.
and you know he needs 2 birdies. Like it's different things like that. Like how can we interact with them and get them to feel mentally supported in aspects so that when they experience certain things like that, like we brought up great points like breathing. Going off of that, my next question will be, what are some ways in which, or what would you like to see done at St. Mary's that we can maybe get going in the works so that we encourage the future generation to be as open and supported as maybe we are, because not a lot of people are able to be this much supported and, you know, also benefit from it.
I think having like a all sports like orientation like for freshmen, so like for everyone on like all different teams comes together like for like a weekend and does like maybe not like a retreat or something like that, like where they can all get to know each other, because like I mainly like got to know like other sport players like junior, senior year, which I wish it was like earlier. Like we lived with a couple soccer guys, which not only helps like, I think it helps with your sport like more so than like actual life, just because like they know like what the struggles are that you're going through with having to manage your sport and school and family and social and like also everything we've talked about tonight. Like they know how to deal with everything in their own sport, which is a different mindset than ours. So kind of just seeing it from different perspectives is cool, and just being able to like kind of get away from your sport. And like I feel like once we're all together, like we kind of just don't even think about any of like what's going on in our athletic world. It's kind of more of a social world, and that's it. And I feel like at times if you're just hanging out with your team, then most of the conversation ends up being about coaches, games, you know, the sport itself, and people kind of get lost in it. So I think like finding a way to like get all the athletes together and like kind of become like kind of mix the sport teams up.
Yeah, I like that. Even like having interactive meetings with where we'll split up in groups maybe.
Yeah.
And like you can talk about ways in which you've been affected by mental health, and ways in which you went about helping yourself out of that dark place, or ways in which, you know, you benefited. And you know, some people don't struggle at all with mental health and mental anxiety and things like that. So, you know, I think that would help conversation to know like there's other people, and you know, even walking around campus now, you're more enticed to like, oh, you know, I know this person, like, you know, like I know I can talk to this person that isn't biased about the sport, isn't on my team, like. Now I have another person I can go to and have a conversation with.
And that's good too, because like they can talk about stuff that's not your sport.
Yeah.
Like especially when people outside of your sport, it's great to you can walk on campus and talk about anything but what's going on now.
I think it also build like that. We're talking about like the family within your team, but it'll be like more of a family within the whole
St. Mary's
athletics.
community.
Exactly, yeah. And then we could even branch off to students, because students
And students go through deal with mental health issues too. It's not like just athletes do. You know, but I also think that it's a lot. It's harder to gauge, you know, how to go about things when a lot of the time we're so enticed and like driven by our sport.
Yeah.
You know, like we still have to manage, like you talked about, like our school life and like our life outside of sports and our life with our families and stuff like that, that not all the time is like we're able to stop and think about.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think having more people around from different sports could help that, and kind of give people a perspective of it's okay to come to me to talk about things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can help build something special there. And, you know, that can eventually help the conference get to the state where now it's something that every school does.
Yeah, one thing they did in the NBA, and like they did with the All Blacks, they like introduced like a mental skills coach.
Explain the All Blacks. Who are the All Blacks?
It's like a New Zealand rugby team, like the national team, are real good, but yeah, pretty much it's just like better than Australia as well. No, it's just like someone who like teaches you or gives you the resources, like the breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, connecting your mind and body. But I think it's just like, if we like, I don't know how expensive it is in the budget, but I think if there's like a priority on that, like that will not only increase the athletes' like well-being, improving it, but maybe even their performance as well at the school. So
Yeah.
like I think that could be something to tap into.
Even like mental health awareness, like games, like rounds in the week. Like you can get a game and get all the funds raised at a game to go towards a foundation. I think that could even make some noise, especially because if you highlight one game or one thing about mental health and about players' mental health especially, then I feel like you can bring awareness to it.
And going off of that, you know, I think also it's something that doesn't have to be super expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of things like tips and words of encouragement that can be heard just from having the conversation with another player, or like tonight. You know what I mean? Like I've got things off Johnny, off Mark that maybe I didn't have before. You know what I mean? So now I can try that and further my routine to increase my chances of being a better performer, being better mentally clear of that. So with that, like, thank you guys for coming out and taking the time out of your day to be here and have this conversation, because it's an important conversation making a difference around campus. So thank you guys.
Yes, sir. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Quinn Clinton. I play basketball at St. Mary's. I'm a business major and I'm a junior.
Hi, I'm Kyle Velasquez. I'm on the baseball team. I'm a senior and a communications major.
Hey guys, I'm Johnny Stone, senior here on the baseball team, and I'm a business major.
Hi, I'm Alex Dugas. I'm on the basketball team. I'm a junior and I'm a business major with a minor in pockets.
My name is Daniel Fatu. I play for the men's basketball team here at St. Mary's and I'm a senior.
What's up guys, I'm Kyle Bond. I'm a junior, business major. I play basketball.
Hey everyone, it's your host Logan Johnson. I'm a communications major here at St. Mary's. I'm on the men's basketball team.
My name is Mark Laura. I'm on the baseball team at St. Mary's. I'm a 5th-year senior, and I'm the owner of Gooey Cuts. Follow me at Gooey Cuts on Instagram.
Welcome to the Barbershop Talk.
I like that.